Hi, Michael. I don't see you, so let me change the view. I only see myself. Oh, there you go.
I have to turn on my camera.
Oh, good, good. Oh, there you go. Okay, so right now I'm going to try and make this side by side. I've never done that before. Bingo.
First time for everything, right?
Yep. Just grabbing my headsets. I'm hoping not to get feedback, and then I'll do the Instagram. Are you using your phone?
I am.
Okay, so that means we just do Zoom and then we'll post on our social media if we have any content that we think is worthy of sharing, right?
Yeah, that works. I mean, you can post it on Instagram and whatnot. My laptop's been down for a while with the virus. I haven't had enough money to go get it fixed, so I've been running on. Thankfully, in today's world, you can pretty much do everything with your phone.
Exactly.
And the one time I needed to use a computer for like taxes, I was like, I ended up asking a friend and I used their computer. So I was like, I know the right people to reach out if I do need a computer. But
There you
besides that, for everything else, I'm like, phone works.
Amazing. I like that. Yep, the phone works. And one thing I like when I see your profile is everybody has a phone, but it's what you do with that phone, the information you put out and information you take in. And when I see your profile, there is a lot of productivity. I like the handwritten notes that you do. I don't know if it's to self. That's cute. That I like that.
No, like, so it was, I think it was some point. So when COVID kicked off last year, I tried posting Instagram more, but it ended up, so there's multiple ways that you can post on Instagram. But I mean, but as far as like how long it takes you to do it. So like I was putting way too much thought into it, and just like each post would take like 45 minutes to an hour to do.
Yeah.
And then like I ended up last month or 2 months ago, I was like, hey, like, let's get back to posting more, but like do quick posts. So like make 3 posts. So ones that you want to do. So in the morning, the 3 o'clock, all the other my thoughts about the day, whatnot. That's what the first one is, just whatever I want. And then the second one, that's some video and stuff, just because I'm like, we've all learned something that we can give and add to the world as far as wisdom, or there's something that you do during your day that is, it's unique, it's different, it's just like it's specific to you. I was like, and the people hate their lives. So I'm like, people are more than happy enough to anything that you think, somebody out there is more than happy enough to go on your profile, you hit the right hashtags and stuff, it pops up on their feed or whatnot, and they watch it, and then the next one's just some quote for someone. And the amazing thing with that is you can type in, say, Jocko Willing. You can just go Jocko Willing quote or anybody quote. And all these quotes pop up. I'm like, basically all your content for the photo and whatnot, it's made for you. You just have to. So the thing that makes it special, the way that I do it, like you were talking about with the note, like it's all written on paper. So like you can read my poor handwriting. I'm like, we're good.
There we go. There we go. Well, I think your handwriting is way better than mine. I scribble. You would not know if it was an insect that was just running around on ink or a human being writing. So I appreciate your handwriting. It's pretty clear.
Yeah, and so all three of those are just trying to add value to my feed,
Oh, cool.
or adding value to people's lives or something else. So it's more about giving back and then see what happens.
It makes me think about Gary V.
Yeah, the everybody hates their life. That's Gary V. And
I like him. I like Gary.
yeah, he's good. He's positive. I do find it funny whenever Grant talks about Gary. He's like, "Oh, Gary Vaynerchuk,"
Well, you know, I think
and they're
when it
here's
comes,
what you're gonna say.
I think when it comes to the billionaires, they laugh at each other. It's like, oh, you doing that, like that's so douchebag and something like. I think it's a thing they have going on there. It's like everybody doesn't like someone's guts about something, but it's just yeah, but it's nothing to the. I think it's okay.
Yeah, I think it shows their different business styles. Like Gary's all about, I'm just gonna give you free stuff and all that's gonna come back. And Grant's like, no, like I'm gonna give you stuff, but the only way you're gonna learn is you have to pay for it. And they both they're both valuable and they both give good advice.
That's true. So true. So
And
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, I was just saying, and like Gary's very much work for yourself, and I like that personal freedom. And Grant's very much more business adverse, to where if there's more risk than reward and it's the wrong type of risk, then it's not worth it. And Gary's like, no, like your personal freedom is the most important thing.
Mm-hmm. That's true. And I think it's just good to realize that as human beings, we're all different. So there's no one pill that fits. Everyone has to pick one from all those people and find something that works for them. You just can't follow and mimic everything they say, you know. But both are good, I think.
Yeah.
I have a question. So at the moment, what are you doing? What have you been up to?
So so you mean today or just in life, or
And life, because I think I remember seeing that you were moving. Where were you moving from, and where have you moved to now? Is it the same
so
state?
so I did move. I moved about 2 or 3 weekends ago. So I moved from a 2 bedroom, 2 bathroom condo turned apartment to a studio.
Smart move.
So, and the last place I liked it, but I could never find a roommate. So I
Ah,
was like, so eventually I was like, so I need to move to somewhere that was cheaper, just because hours have been cut back and a bunch of other stuff. So I
mm-hmm.
was like, so at some point I was like, um, I need to move because this place is just unaffordable.
Yeah.
But from last year to now, the where I felt like I want to go in the next phase of life, that I was like, the next move needs to fit where I'm going in the next phase of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And then so I ended up finding one place that was in a pretty rough neighborhood that everybody was like, don't do that. So I ended up talking to some friends, found out just about whenever you move to a next place, the steps that you need to do, like mapping out a neighborhood. So the next phase of life that I wanted to move to, that I'm moving into right now, was I believe that as a Christian that I'm called to be actively involved in my world. So um basically I said I want to find a place that's in a rougher neighborhood. I want to move there. I want to try to get involved in the neighborhood or become more involved in the city. So so the first place, it was too rough. I lost the security deposit. And then well, the way that it was set up and everything, if you ended up backing out, you lost it or whatnot.
Ah,
Basically,
got it, got it.
it is what it is.
Hmm.
So I was like, that's $300 to learn that information. And then so I kept on looking around. So for about half of last year, I worked my main job. So I'm a planner estimator for an industrial construction company. And at some when hours were cut back when they sent us all to go work from home, I ended up having to get a job at a grocery store
Mm-hmm.
because I needed something to basically give me a little bit extra income till the main job got more hours.
Mm-hmm.
So when the hours started picking up at the main job, I was like, now's the time to start looking for more opportunities to get involved in the city and move towards that direction. So I ended up taking a bunch of the time off. I didn't really look for an apartment during that time because I think I was so happy that I wasn't at the store
Mm-hmm.
that I just that like I just spent time doing a lot of stuff, being
Yeah.
productive. And then eventually I went back and I asked for more time off. And then I had to go back during that time off because I was like, at some point, I'm going to find the next place that I'm going to live at.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't have that much money to sit out that long. So found the place, ended up spending I ended during the entire weeks and whatnot, I ended up packing up. And then ended up getting some people from my church to help me move. And then spend a weekend cleaning up the last place, and then got up and now I'm here. And I've had um one of the opportunities, one of the ladies in the church that I go to, she runs a group called Hope Ministries,
Mm-hmm.
and they deal with a rougher part of Baton Rouge. Like when you mention that part, everybody's like, oh, that's the rough part of the city or whatnot. And that's the part where some of the highest crime statistics in America are on that street,
Oh
in that
boy.
neighborhood.
Mm.
So I reached out to her. I asked her like, hey, what do you have any opportunities to work with you? She was like, first Monday of every single month, you can help out in our food pantry. I was like, cool, great. So one of the weeks I ended up going somewhere. One of the weeks was the business challenge, and then like all the grant, and then all this different stuff came up, and then finally last month I had an opportunity open up. And then
Mm-hmm.
there was another group called Fathers on a Mission, FOAM for short, and it's about teaching fathers, giving them information and things to basically help them grow with their families. If you want a certain job, you might not have the right information to go to that next opportunity that you want, but we can get you information and stuff and help you out so that somewhere later on down the road you can jump on one of those opportunities and set you up with an intermediate, hopefully look for opportunities to set you up with an intermediate job, um to get you to the point where you're more stable. Then when you get the right information, that you can go and you can jump on the job that you want to go to, and like all this different stuff. And then the guy that I met up, he was like, I've got another opportunity that you'd be interested in as well, but
Mhm.
nothing's happened with that one yet. So I'm like, so when I moved to this, like all three of those things opened up. So I was like,
There you go.
probably a good sign that I'm moving in the right direction.
There you go. Yep. I like that. Which state are you in?
I live in Louisiana.
Oh, Louisiana. Never been. That's interesting. Well, I've never been anywhere besides New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. So, oh, that's amazing. I've never been. That should be an interesting place to be. What's the weather like
Yeah,
there?
the it's hot and humid for the majority of the year.
Oh, no, I'm a snowbody. I'll pass. What?
It's what it's what you get for living in the deep south. That and Louisiana is basically a swamp that's been converted to dry land for
Oh,
everywhere where everybody lives. Because all this used to be a big swamp, and then they set up um, the dams and the other stuff,
mm,
and so
okay.
that it's more habitable.
All right, cool. So, what are your goals like? Have you put down the goals that you want to achieve in the next few years for yourself?
Yeah, well, so the goals they've changed some this year.
Of course.
So the this year there's been a lot of growth because first, so probably about maybe 2.5 years, my entire really wanting to learn and grow ended up getting kicked off. And this year there's been a lot of growth because um got involved with 10x community, and I'm doing more challenges and stuff. Like I did a challenge with Pedro Adeo and with Paul Fitzgerald and a bunch of other stuff that I've done 3, 4 challenges, and that all of them have a different aspect to them,
Mm-hmm.
but there's still some type of growth that you can get from them.
That's amazing. I like that. I like that because they such people and such communities give you a reason and a direction of why you should swim out of where you are right now, and just gives you a glimpse of what life could look like. And that's a good that's a good thing to feed the mind, because if you don't have that, you'll find that it's easy to be trapped in the same space for many years because there was no vision pulling you towards it. So yeah, I like that you're managing what needs to be done right now. Like you had to move, you took a logical thought and said, okay, this is too expensive. I'm going to do a studio now so that I have some breathing room and actually manage what I have. And then with that, you're trying to reestablish yourself, get jobs. And the more you get established, it's easier for you to start jumping on grants and everybody's kind of moves, because now you have a stable base. So I like that, because when he was young, this time he was obviously in jail, or not in jail, in the rehab center or something like that. So if you look at where he was at your age and where you are, you might be in a far much better place. So to just know that there is hope and there is a path you can take, that's amazing.
Yeah, and I mean, and I was doing a lot of stuff to grow anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the listening to Grant and other people like that, it's added another spark, and it's opened up another community. Because the only thing the 10X community does besides us getting the knowledge from Grant is it's a group of high performing individuals that are all like, we all want to be somewhere better. Let's surround ourselves with like-minded people where we all have a different end goal, but
Hmm.
we all want more and we want to be better in life.
Definitely.
And because of that, that's what makes the 10X community work.
Definitely, definitely. Totally agree. Yeah. I like the community as well. So, what are you looking at where you are right now and what you're thinking and what you're doing? And you've made so much great milestones. Congratulations on the move. Congratulations on finding your feet in the middle of the chaos, because COVID in 2019 or 2020 messed up everybody. Everybody got messed up in one way or another because things changed. So, congrats that you made it.
Thank you.
Yeah, there you go. So right now, what are you, when you get the jobs you're latching on and all that? Is there anything else that I can help with what you're doing? Are you, do you have
Um,
projects or something like that?
so there's, I guess not really. So there's some things that I'm trying to work out. Like I'm working on the exit plan from the grocery store because
Ah, there you go.
I mean, so the grocery store is great because it helped me through a time,
Mm-hmm.
but because of the time that I'm spending there, and I'm like, I can use that time better somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, so basically needs to be there needs to be something that replaces that job wise, but something
Mm-hmm.
that I can do in the long term. Like how I'm looking at things, there's probably going to be 3 or 4 things that I'm working or doing by the time that I die. And um I'm just like, the thing that replaces the grocery store, I'm like, that's just going to be one of those.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm working on that. I'm working on my trying to figure out what's the next step in my career. And then when that happens, I can talk more about that. But it's figuring out what's the next step from there,
There
and
you
then figuring out companies and different stuff like that.
go. Mm-hmm.
It's more of a big change because when I started in industrial construction, so I ended up, I was in college studying welding, and I wasn't really finding any jobs. I ended up passing college without passing any welding certification tests.
Oh, yeah.
Uh, and a lot of that's because of my people skills, is I just really connected with my teacher really well. And he was like, I'm not going to find somebody who shows up to class every single day. And so like, and me and him, we were really good friends. So like, because of that, I was getting out, and my dad ended up, the company I work for now, they have the maintenance contract at the plant that my dad was the head maintenance supervisor at. He's
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, I've got a number 2 recruiter. You can go ahead, you can give him a call. It's totally cool if you do. So eventually I broke down. I was like, I'll take the number. And he gave me the number, and I called him up, and he was like, hey, Michael, when are you looking on coming down? So I gave him a timeline, and I went back to school for another semester. And then he was like, when you get to the end of your school, call me and we'll find, there will be a job. We'll find a job for you. So I called him up and he was like, be down here for the second week in January 6 years ago. So, and part of the move was that I was trying to change as a person. So I wasn't sure if I could change staying around the people that I was around. Like I like you know how when you want to change, but you've got all your friends and everybody's doing the same stuff.
I
It's
know.
like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I know I'm pretty strong and pretty motivated and I've got a lot of discipline. But I was like, but I don't know if I can change if my circle stays the same. So I was like, so some of it was I was like, it'd probably be a good idea to get a new circle. Idaho, for the 8 years I lived in Idaho, I was born in Ohio and my dad took a job in Idaho. So he moved us out there halfway through freshman year in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And for the 8 years I lived in Idaho, it never once felt like home. So I was like, why not find somewhere that feels like home? I've never been to Louisiana. Might as well start there.
Mm-hmm.
So some of the move was find a new home.
Oh, cool.
So when I moved here, after I was working, I put in a lot of work. The guys at my work, they ended up starting to say, one day we're going to be working for him. So I was like, oh, like, whatever, guys, like, that's a long ways in the future. So, but when more and more people start to tell you something like that, it plants that seed in your mind to where you're like, you know what? That sounds, that really sounds like a great idea.
There you go. Why not?
So I ended up going to trade school to become a pipe fitter. So I started out in industrial construction as a helper. I went from a helper to a um, certified pipe fitter.
Nice, nice.
And
There you go.
then, so from the first job to where I am now, I've had the thought of where do I want my career to go? So in industrial construction, the site coordinators, when they go to school, they teach them how to run a job site, but not, but they don't teach them any people skills. And the two strengths I have are people skills and I can work really, really hard. So I was like, why not become a plant supervisor, run my own site, and learn how to manage people
There you go.
and get young people, a bunch of young bloods in my office, teach them how to run a job site, ship them out, get more people to come in, basically create this cycle. And the plan is that to create a waterfall effect. So when I decide to retire and get out of construction, the chain's still going and going and going and going to where 3, 4, 5, 6 generations down the line until people forget everything that I taught. The entire industry gets changed, all because they came from school, they learned how to run a job site, but they don't know how, they don't have any people skills. Teaching the people skills, now you've got two and two to go together. And I've always felt like industrial construction, the job sites were run more with making money and not about treating people the way that they should be treated on a job site and valuing their employees.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, so teach them how to run a job site the way that God wants us to run a job site and value their employees, and then um uh, and then pair two and two together. Because odds are, if I work my way up the ladder, I may never go to school for, I might not have the schooling that they have, but that's not what's important. With the strengths that I have, it'll make up for the weaknesses with all of that. And I think there's two ways of management. So you've heard Grant somewhat talk about it, and Gary Vee some, and I think it was Stephen Covey talked about it some too, that there's people who they get good at everything and there's no weakness, but the majority of people can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
The other way is you triple down on your strengths and you hire people to fill your weaknesses, and then you keep on tripling down on your strengths and you have people who fill your weaknesses. And I know my one of the bosses that my dad had, he always said that that was one of the best guys he worked for. That's what his thing was I'll just hire people who their strengths are my weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
And he focused on his strengths and they filled his weaknesses.
Cool. Yeah, that's the right way to go. So we're going to be winding down soon. I have another 7 p.m. Is there anything you would like to leave me with today? Um, Something that you would advise a younger you. What advice would you give a younger you? The younger version of you.
I would tell a if I were talking to there's a lot of advice that I'd give a younger me, like stay on the path, um, surround yourself with people who fit the world that you want, like people who are like-minded. But I mean, I've got a nephew, and I've noticed one of the things that when I talk about a to a lot of people, that when you talk about a lot of your goals and things, that people they sort of get this big eyes like, oh wow, like you're doing all this stuff. It's like, no, like you do you. Like grow, like I'm at a different stage in life than you're at. I've got a so if I were talking to my kids or a different a younger me, I would say work on being better than me. Like I
Oh,
have strengths and stuff, but like what my strengths and stuff, a lot of those come from a lot of pain and going through a lot of difficult times, which I'm sure as we keep on talking, those are going to come up. And like I talked about the growth from 2.5 years, at some point that's going to come up because that's where a lot of this, where the flame and things were ignited. But if I were talking to a younger me, I would say, be better than me. Like, you don't have to be me. Be better. Like, there's pains and things that I've gone through that have made me into the person I am, and avoid those. And there's some things that you don't have to go through that I've gone through. The Bible talks about a wise man and a fool. A fool keeps on repeating the mistakes, and a wise man looks at the mistakes that other people have made and he learns from those mistakes. And
mate.
that when you talk to other people that learn from their mistakes and get advice from them and say, hey, what's the thing that you learned from this? And do you have any advice and stuff around that? Because there's different ways to prevent stuff. and one of them is learn from the mistakes that other people have made and don't don't do them yourself.
Yeah, amazing. I love that. Thank you so much, Michael. I will leave you with three things today.
Okay.
So, if there's three things I would give you, is that I would ask you to remember that you have three valuable things: either time, money, and energy. So with these three, you really have to be careful where you place them. Make sure whatever you do, even if it's not giving you financial rewards, money, but it's feeding you as a person, where it helps you get confidence, it makes you be a happier person in life. Um, so be, what's the word? I don't want to say selfish and I don't want to say generous, but be mindful where you take your energy and time. And if you do it right, like you are right now, I'm sure you go places that are amazing, and next time we talk or another time we talk, you might be giving me updates on what changed and what could happen, the new doors that open. And I wish you all the best.
You as well.
All right, thank you. Have an amazing evening. Bye, Michael. Thank you.
See ya.
Bye. Hi, girl. I'm done with the meeting. All right. So looking at Facebook, I had a live and I was going to share on Facebook, but then I wanted to see how the conversation will go before going on and doing that. And before I had a live, hi Paris, my daughter is just walking. You can come in, come sweetie. My meeting is over. I'm just trying something. Mommy, yes, my darling. Can I ask you a question? Sure. I gotta get a game for us to play. I beg your pardon, what? I got a game for us to play. The game is called the So Gorillas can play too. So it's called. Do you want to go to the park? Not yet. I will go tomorrow. Okay. The game is called Sister Little Red Hood was going to her mommy's house